Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks. The other night was a blue moon, and somebody asked how you would draw a scene to look like that. And I'm not a graphic artist, but I'm quite proud of this. And it's really pretty easy. I took a moon photo off the internet, and you can see I cropped it down so Corel wouldn't have to work so hard. Now, keep in mind, do not move it, nudge it. So I'm going to set my nudge factor on 6. I'm going to make a duplicate of that, move it over, and then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go to Trace Bitmap, Outline Trace, and Clip Art. Now, it looks like not very nice, but what it did do, it gave me that round shape, the exact size that I needed. So now what I'm going to do is take another rectangle and fill it out the inside, move it over, fill in the inside. Whoop, I've got part of my graphic from the tree there. Let me just delete that. Let me move this tree out of the way. And let me take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. Move that dot over. Then I can nudge it all the way around to my original picture. And I'm going to select it, and I'm going to go to intersect, and now I have just the moon, the picture of just the moon. So we're going to just put it over here. Then I took a tree off the internet. I'm going to make it quite a bit smaller to trace. I'm going to go to Trace Bitmap, Outline Trace, Clip Art, which I use probably 99% of the time. I'm going to move it over. I'm going to bring in a yellow box. I made a rectangle and turned it yellow, object order, backup page, to get rid of the white. Now, the best way to get rid of the white in this case is to grab the tree, go up to object, group, and ungroup it. And when you grab just the black, the white will stay. So we have just now a black outline tree. Now, at first I was concerned about this part of the grass area, but it actually added to my picture. So now we're going to draw a rectangle. And from here on, you can pretty much do this in any particular order. I'm going to go ahead and turn that a dark blue. I'm going to take away the outline by right-clicking the mouse. I'm going to get the interactive fill tool. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to hold down the control button and add some black to make that blacker. Now I'm going to take the interactive fill tool and add a little white. I don't want it quite that white. And you could always darken that up by, you could actually start off with black and then put a blue here. That's too much, but I'm going to leave it like it was. Looks pretty good. Now what we can do is take a freehand tool and just start outside the box. Well, that's the 2-point line, freehand tool, and just, make you some heels. And take your virtual segment delete key and delete that side of the line and that side of the line. Now what we can do is select it all, hold down the shift key and double click on the rectangle tool. That put a rectangle around it. Take the Smart Fill tool, set on black, and fill in our landscape. I don't like that. I'm going to back up here a little bit. I'm going to take my shape tool and I'm going to maybe take away some nodes. I just don't like the landscape area. So, and this is where an artist could do a better job than I'm doing. Smart Fill and fill that in. I still don't like that, but I'm going to leave it. Now I'm going to select it all and I'm going to right-click my mouse, no outline. Now I'm going to put the moon in. I'm going to have to go to Object Order, Front of Page. And that looks pretty good. Now, I purposely made a kind of a glow to the moon, and that's just personal preference. So I'm going to hit the plus key, and I'm going to move the moon over. I'm going to hold down the control button, and I'm going to make it really, really white. But I can't really do that because it's not really a picture. It's not a color. So what I can do is I don't want to move that moon, but I can change my nudge factor. And because I'm just kind of making it glow, it doesn't really matter. So now I'm going to move that over. I'm going to go ahead and go to Object, Order, Front of Page. And I'm going to fill this in with either a white or a gray, probably this light gray. I'm going to move the black part out of the way. And remember, I'm nudging and not moving. So now I need to go to Object, Order, Back of Page. But my blue might be, see, my blue is still in front. So I'm going to move that out of the way for a second. I'm going to go turn my blue into the back of the page. And my moon is still, see, I could just move it up forward one. Well, why isn't it not showing up? Maybe it's there, it's just so light. Tell you what, let's turn it white for a second. No, it's just not there. Order, front of page. We still want it in front of the moon. And so I'm going to just halfway move it over and order. I don't want it to the back. I want it back one. Still not there. Tell you what, I'm going to go up here and make sure this is just in the very front of the page. There we go. Now I can minutely, I've got the white selected. I got the moon selected. And you could do several things with this. Then you could grab the white and you see I've got white down here. We could go to Effects, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And that looks pretty good right off the bat. I'm going to leave it. Now before I put the tree in, I'm going to do the stars. And here's you can tell when you're moving it that this has a boundary box around it and this does not. Stars, that's probably the most difficult part to me in a way, because they need to be really, really little. And I'm going to just go like 0.1. I'm going to fill it in with white, and I'm going to take away the outline. Then I'm going to kind of look at it. That's not too bad. Now, you could change the shape. You could use a star. You could take it and go up to Object and convert it to a curve, and then just not make it a perfect circle, because you're not going to really be able to see them anyway. They're going to be so little. And that you could use a star. So I'm just going to hit Control D, and I'm going to move it down kind of at an angle. Now you're going to go, well, that's not going to work. But if you kind of do things like this, Control D, and then reverse it, and, just take some of them and hit the plus key, move them around. Of course, you don't want all of them in an order. And, we could just keep breaking them up. We still don't want them in an order. So then I find it easier just to take, them around. And this is really not how I did the first one, but you kind of get the idea. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Object, Lock, and I'm going to lock that screen. Because once you tell you what, I've got too many stars to work with. Because what I'm going to do is just disperse these down where they're not in a line and they're not in an order. Because then what I'm going to do, once you have a few, kind of drawn out, and there are some stars that are in lines, and I'm by far no expert in this, but what you can do is now take this and hit the plus key on the keyboard, move them over, and then mirror them the other direction, and have it look totally different. And then kind of grab half of them. And this is where it's going to help to, I have way too many stars. You could actually go through here and delete some, like that's pretty cool that those two stars are real close together. And my trees are going to go right there, so I'm not going to worry about them, but I could grab these and hit the plus key and put them down here. And you can just keep playing forever and ever and ever. You can move some, you can hit the plus key and move them over, mirror them the other direction. And that's enough on star. Now I'm going to bring in the tree. I'm going to go to Object, Order, Front of Page. And then I've got some, I want that ground kind of showing in a way, but not too much. And then you could hit the plus key, make another one smaller. And, you could play around with that for a long time. Now the shooting star, I just kind of started thinking, I'm going to use the artistic media tool, and I'm going to use a 2-point line, and let's put the shooting star a little lower this time. So I've drawn a straight line, then I'm going to get the artistic media tool with a point like that, click on it, and then just make it a little bit. I had this problem yesterday, or this morning. There we go. Now I can make it smaller, thinner. And we're also we're gonna make it go down toward the earth. But first of all, what you need to do, the most important thing, is to make I'm gonna make a copy of it for a second. And I'm gonna go to Object, and I'm gonna break it apart, because we do not want that line in there, that line right there. And I didn't really need to make a copy. I could always put it back. Now we're going to put it back in there. We're going to mirror it the other way, mirror it down. We'll make it white, but it's kind of too bright. And it's actually a little bit big. And then probably the key that I think would be neatest is to go to Effects, Blur, and Gaussian Blur just a little bit, because you don't want it perfectly. And also you could really blur it. Let's say okay, and then you could take a white dot and put it at the leading edge, so it's more pronounced, kind of. I don't know that you'd ever see that in a print, and maybe blur that just a hair, so it still looks like a round subject. Anyway, that's how I would do it, and I think my first one actually came out better. I like my hill, and I got a little more of the grass in there. And I've got not as many stars. Anyway, I hope that gave them some ideas, and thank you for watching.